at a conference and wanting to get one piece of value, one piece of nugget out of it and not getting it. So if you could help me out here, like if any one of you just dare to be so bold, why the hell did you show up here? What are you hoping to learn? Can somebody just tell me? Yeah, what's up?
How to get everybody else on board with automating.
How to get buy-in, right? What's some of the resistance you get when trying to buy someone in with automation?
I don't have time to learn.
Don't have time to learn it. Okay, cool. And does that come down to where that person needs to build the automation themselves, or do they just need to use it? And you still get resistance. Fire their asses. Fair, got it. So, and that is true that sometimes you'll have resistance with your seniors and I'm using senior in terms of someone who is a senior in authority, senior position there to you, not just old as hell. Is there someone else that has like, I would love to get something out of this. What's up, bro?
How to have it run in your sleep and also the practical steps on what to do or ideas on where to automate.
Whoa, that's a lot. And what this man said is like, I would like this all to run in my sleep and just have it happen for me. Basically, I just want to show up to work and it be done. And what I tell my team is, I want to be, I say Brad Pitt, but that's not really true because I think Tom Hardy is actually fucking kick-ass. So I want to be Tom Hardy. And I just want to show up to the set. The director's already there. The lights are already there. I don't have to worry about my water. I don't have to worry about anything. I just show up to work and I just leverage my genius. Unfortunately, usually if you're the person that's looking to do the automation, you usually have to be the person doing everything as well, bro. You're the thought leader. So unless you outsource that, it's really hard just to have that happen. Is there someone else that wanted to learn something? What's up?
Kind of figure out processes to help the support staff at my firm.
Figure out process to help the support staff. Cool. I got you on all those things. I'm not an expert at this, but I am really freaking good. And for context, what I mean is I run a one lawyer firm with 2 virtual assistants. Last year, we did about 2,000 paid consults that were 20 minutes apiece. And we took on about 600 clients for that year. And we did it all without breaking anything. We dropped a lot of damn balls, obviously, like it's going to happen. But you don't want to drop the crystal ball, right? You don't want that thing to shatter. So can you use automation to do these things? 1,000%. But how the hell do you do it? That is tough. But before we get into the kind of mechanics of it, and I don't know that we actually can get into the mechanics of it because that's going to be so unique to your practice. The way I think about it is you just want to solve one problem at a time, one small problem. For example, my partner in this case, meaning like something more than a girlfriend, but something less than a wife, something in between there, partner. So my partner and I, we were sitting there talking about my bonus daughter. And she says, I get like 100 emails a day from her school. I don't know what the hell to do with these. I don't know what to pay attention to. And it makes it really hard to just deal with it. Cool. That's an easy problem to solve. All we got to do is go on Zapier, connect your email up to ChatGPT, have ChatGPT or have your email filter for those emails that are pertinent to the school, have ChatGPT digest all of that for you and tell you, here are your action items for the day, here's what you can ignore. 5 minutes later, all of her emails are processed. Every day at 2 p.m., she gets an email that just tells her what pertains to her daughter. She doesn't have to filter through all the noise. And she's bought back 2-3 hours of time, and more importantly, like the mental load of thinking about doing it all. And that's a very simple thing, and that's all I do over and over again in practice. So how do you get started with it? Something simple like that. How do you get buy-in from someone? I really don't know because I run my own show. And I just tell people this is what we're doing. So I don't know I'm gonna be able to help you today, except for like maybe another job, I don't know. But those are tough things. And when we say, what do we usually mean by automation? Because what I plan on taking you on here, a different journey, is because I think this is very simple. Client intake, document creation, billing, follow-ups. That's a very normal automation process. And you can do a lot of these things in your sleep just by taking them step by step by step. And Zapier's great. there's make is great. Just choose one and you just solve one small problem at a time. And when I solve it, I'm usually sitting there. I have an old-fashioned or a Negroni, and I'm sitting there with my computer, and I have my Loom, and I'm recording my Loom, just mapping out a process and doing that on repeat over and over again, sharing it with my team afterwards. This, I think, is pretty straightforward. But I think where I really want to take you and encourage you is like, what if automation can actually do more for us? Because I think that's a more interesting conversation to have. And when you're solo, small, whatever, or it doesn't really matter, you're looking for efficiency, but our clients, they want connection. And that's really hard to do at scale. How do you do that, right? Because they say, oh, you have to create like these emails, and you want to have these processes, but everything becomes very templated, very generic, very soulless. But that's helpful for you because you have to scale up the practice, right? Like you have to scale up these emails. If you're going to take in more, you need repeatable things. And I really struggle with this because I deal in the B2C consumer space. I help student loan borrowers across the globe with their student loan debt. And I can tell you, it has been a crazy fucking time the last 4 years trying to figure all this out and delivering services to people who are high anxiety, highly stressed, filled with noise, and getting a templated email, a templated package for them that just felt wrong. And so I struggle with this question of how do we balance time, saving time, reducing errors, increase productivity, building client trust, emotional resonance, and long-term loyalty. Because by nature, I want people to be a fan of mine. I want them to want to work with me repeatedly. I want them to refer their friends and family to me. And I really couldn't do that with like just using automation that is templated, that is soulless. And so I started off by maybe we can change how we ask our questions, because if you think about it, all of this stuff is just data. And we get so much data because people trust us at a certain point. We get overwhelmed with data. It was wild to me. I used to do bankruptcy cases. And I'm like, yo, you get your social, date of birth, who they were married to the first time, second time, third time, what they went to jail for in the first 5 minutes of the phone call. But then what do you do with that data? Large firms, large companies, social networks, they digest that and sell it off. For lawyers, we're like, oh, that's weird. That feels nasty. I don't want to do that. And I'm not saying we should do that. But can't we take this data and provide a better customized service to our people, especially if we put it in a structured way, which does not require us to fully process it, but we can also use large language models to do that for us. Now that brings in a whole other questions about, ooh, I don't want to share my client data with a large language model and have them out there sharing stuff. I understand that, you do what you want with that part, but this is how I'm thinking about it. And I started thinking, how do we change how we do questions on our forms? And we ask these more open-ended questions. For instance, if you're a trademark, what if you just said, what inspired you to create this brand or product? That gives you incredible insights into this person. What are their pain points? What brings them joy? And that's something you can use as part of your sales process to close that person, because you have already spoken to who they are and where they hope to become as well. Same thing. What challenges have you faced in establishing your brand? They're going to tell you how they want you to talk to them, if we just listen and we give them an opportunity to give us that information. So it's not just automation, but it's also automated to have a more human experience. One of the ones we use for ours is, if you could wave a magic wand, what would your ideal student loan outcome be? Usually it's like, I want them shits gone now. Or you get to somewhere in the middle where it's like, dude, I just want to pay back what I truly owe, and I want something fair. I'm getting ready to retire. I'm worried that they're going to take my house, my car, my retirement pay, that I'm going to work as hard as I have and left nothing for my family. I get all of that, and I get to show up to a consult with that information ready to go. That's great. Now, that's a normal intake part, but this is where it gets really cool. So I have someone, this is the Typeform logo. I just put together a simple workflow because I'm kind of tool agnostic. I don't think you need to use a certain tool. But effectively, so long as you have a form going into a database, then you can spin that up into a ChatGPT or whatever you use, LLM. You can create an onboarding email that says, before the call, here is something very specific to you about what we're gonna cover in this call. Just wanna let you know, because this solves this other problem I think about a lot. You're a new dude, new city, stranger, you go to a bar. The coolest thing that can happen to you is that the bartender speaks to you and makes you feel welcome and as a friend. And effectively, as lawyers, we are the bartender out here in this cold internet place, and people are coming to us and they're not warmed up usually. They're just cold, and they want to feel warmed and welcome and accepted. And if you can take that information you got automated from your form, have an email already drafted for you that speaks specifically to their pain points and gives them an outline for that call, by the time you show up, dude, the deal is already closed. I promise you, I can close a deal for 15, 20, 25,000 in 5 minutes and haven't said nothing to them because they already feel connected off of our automation, which is wild. And then I put this part that says consult brief because one of the things we had to figure out to add on is as we scale, I'm like this knowledge leader. I know what I'm doing, and this thing is getting on my nerves right now. I apologize. I'm the dude that knows what to do, but we were bringing on another consultant, another lawyer, and they weren't sure how to handle the calls. So then we had a template set up. We fed that into ChatGPT. We took that same data, it fed into the ChatGPT, created the consult brief, and now this person has an outline that tells them what are this person's emotional stakes that you're meeting with. Here's a summary of everything that's going on. Here are their express questions they want answered. Here are their implied questions. And here's how we think the outline of that call should go for you. And is it 100% correct? No, but it's way better than just coming in cold to something, and it gives you an outline to go off of. And I think this is one of the coolest ways because this allows us to add empathy to the process. And I think a lot of what we do sales-wise, business-wise, automation-wise is missing empathy. Inside this client draft email has a greeting, brief overview, appointment reminder, questions, and again, empathy. Same thing with a consult brief, summary, key details, emotional analysis, questions, suggested answers. Boom. You coming to help me, bro? What am I doing?
You want to use the handheld instead because you were hating on that.
I was hating on this? I was like, this is trash. But it's all good because I got a big ass head, bro.
I know.
It's all good. All right, what do you want me to do? Just leave it like that? All right, cool. Let's get back to it. And this is one of my actually favorite automations here to think of. And this might freak some of y'all out, but we record all of our consults. And we record the consults. We actually don't even share it with the client. We let them know we don't share it. We just record it and delete it afterwards. But I take that, run the transcript into the database, run that into ChatGPT. Then we create a post email that goes out to them and says, here's what we covered, here's everything that we needed to answer. And then we also have a post called brief for us to follow up on. And then for people who are considering and are not yet ready for us, we create a drip campaign that's targeted to them. And for those of you who don't know what a drip campaign is, I mean, a lot of y'all got Temu already, so I know y'all know. But with this drip campaign, we create a 3, 4, 5 email sequence that is built in with what they told us where they want to go, their problem areas, their issues. So it speaks directly to them instead of just like, you want to work with us? No, we're talking about transformative behavior. How do we get you from point A to the vision that you have for your life? And all of this is scalable. All of it is pretty easy, and it's all super cheap. It sounds expensive, but like, bro, the database, $20. The LLM, I put $100 on there a month. I probably use $15. The email, $12. Same thing with the post call brief, that's Google Docs. And the drip campaign, we just send it out with Zapier, so that's probably the most expensive thing, which costs us about $1,500 a year. We get the value back easily. And it's time to set this up. This seems like it's a lot. This is like 30 minutes worth of work here. Just sitting there, just like, what are we doing? How are we going? What does this mean? And the best part about all of this, if you think about it, you've met with how many people in the past year? And you're like, what about my marketing efforts? What about that? Bro, they're telling you you have a whole database of information that speaks directly to avatars that you can take out of here and just spin up and then create at scale using automation your scripts for your YouTube videos. Last year we did, I think like 70 YouTube videos, and we're like 14,000 subs we grew in the past year just from that. And a lot of that was just taking the pain points that were there listed for us from those clients, taking those, running them through an automation, running those through an LLM, and giving us the overview of what we need to talk about so we can create more with less. And this is what's possible. Also, underlying theme, empathy, 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 because you're speaking directly to that person. Yes, it is me trying to extract maximum value, but I want to do it in a way that makes you feel seen, heard, and understood. And I think we can do all those things with automation, paired with AI. Rich personalization, emotion-driven segmentation, dynamic follow-ups, anticipated needs, all that good stuff. How empathy drives success. We kind of did this measurement, 30% increase client satisfaction, 25% increase in lead conversion rates, 17% decrease in dropout. Look, it works. So how do you get started? Well, back to you, my boy, right here in the middle. Bing. Oh, wrong one. Bing. There we go. I think a lot of it is one thing at a time. What have you automated so far?
I'm just getting started.
You haven't automated anything?
Not yet.
Not even Calendly, bro?
No.
Oh, fair. Is anyone else in this boat where they haven't automated a thing yet? Whoa! How many of your heads are blown and that's overwhelmed with getting started at all? Fair, very fair. What would I tell someone to get started? I would say, what is one thing you hate doing? Timesheets? What else? Discovery requests. I like that. I don't know anything about timesheets because I've always charged a flat fee. When I worked at a firm, large firm, I hated it, and I had someone else do it. I think I was about to get fired if I didn't do the timesheet, so I just quit. But discovery is actually pretty cool, bro, because how I automated that in my practice is, for you, do you have a repeatable, this is my line of practice, I know kind of what I'm getting? All right, so you kind of know what you're going to get. That's a little bit different because I guess that changes up here and there. But for me, we get the same discovery request from Navient, whatever, Advantage, whatever student loan servicer. We just prepare all that on the front end to get all that from the client so we know what we're getting. That we need to collect because it's generally the same thing across the board. All of that is done by a click of a button where we sit down. We start by saying, what do we need to give the other party? We need to give them these things. Cool. What is the checklist of all those things I need to grab? Can I throw those in a Google Doc or can I throw those in an email? Cool. I can do that. If I can put that in there and then I can create a process to send it out to the client to say, get me these things, and I can say, put it in this folder, and then I have a regular check-in system to go check to make sure that's done and it's checked off, that part is done. That's automated right there. And then when it comes time to submit it over to the party, all we really do is click download, send it off with a link for WeTransfer, along with our stock answers. Actually, I use, come on now, bro, that's disrespectful. What's the lawyer hiring service you can use? Legal Case, whatever it is, but they have freelance lawyers and everything. I hired them for $200. They put everything together for me, and it's all done via emails and kind of automation to them. But you have to map out the process to start. Where's my endpoint? What are the steps involved before I get to that endpoint? And then what can be automated here? And that's really it. There is no magic language or anything like that. It's just, where am I trying to go? What are the steps involved to get there? What can be automated? Yes or no? And what am I comfortable automating as well? And that's a hard part too, because you don't want to over-automate everything because you don't want the bad email to go out that makes you look bad. So what do you do there? You can add human in the loop, and human in the loop automation is where you pause it to give instead of sending out the email, just create a draft for me, and then create a task for me to review that email. Cool, that's all done. Or there's other services where it'll automate everything for you up to a point, and if you say, if it meets this condition, it'll cause an email to go out to you instead of sending it off for you, and you can still add human in the loop protections. So there's gonna be a lot of y'all like, well, what about this, what about that? Bro, there's always a way to get it done. The question is about your creativity inside of getting it done and your comfortability. Now, we're at the question stage, and I'm up here, I got 9:15 left to go. I will take all of your questions and talk through this because I ain't got too much more to say because a lot of this is very natural to me. But I also want to give you an opportunity to get your kind of nugget here that makes it worth listening to me talk. Anyone? Bueller? Yes, sir. So the question is, how do you get buy-in from someone who is adamantly against it because they're worried about automated emails embarrassing the firm? I don't know, right? Because like, I'm not a salesman, right? I just do the thing. Like, and I will show you, and I will show you safeguards. Sometimes like when I talk to my colleagues about it, I will sit there and say, what are your concerns? Like straight up, tell me your legit concerns. I can go off and build a process and say here, and they'll say, but yeah, but. And a lot of yeah, but is because it's like, I remember when I was going out with my partner to go look at cribs, and she swore she could do like a renovated crib. She was like, oh, we can get a house. And when I say crib, I'm sorry, I meant house slang. She was like, yeah, we could do a fixer-upper, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is when you walk into a fixer-upper, you have to have vision for where you're trying to go. And if you don't have vision, you will never be able to see the value in the thing. And so sometimes for those people who are resistant to it, it's only because they lack the vision of what is actually possible. And so if you just take down their resistance, all their concerns, and you build the thing for them and let them use it in a safe environment, right? Because you can set it up to where you test it out, sandbox it, and the emails only go out to you for a week, 2 weeks, whatever to test it out. You can do that. And sometimes you just have to build it for them. And that's unfortunate that you have to do that type of sales, but you know, such is life. Anyone else with a question? Let's go, let's do this. Yes, what's up, bro?
So you mentioned can you explain generally what it is, how it works, and give an example without having to use
The gentleman asked me, what is Zapier? And I'm laughing now because I was talking to this dude at the bar yesterday. He was like, you know, RPCs. I was like, what the fuck is an RPC? He was like, rules of professional conduct, duh. I was like, what the fuck would I know that? And I just did that to you, so I apologize. But if you think about data, all data really is bits that are stored in one database and another database. Zapier allows those databases to talk to one another and communicate that data across the board. So many of you, when you're using Clio extensions, that's all that's happening is just data's talking to one another, typically via what's called an API, which is just the way information is communicated by a computer. And it's the glue of the internet, I think, is their brand. But that's all it is. And Zapier is a very expensive tool in the marketplace, but it's also very commercially easy to use for the most part. And there are also a lot of Zapier experts. And that you can sit out on, record a loom of your process. Here's what I want to do. I don't know how to do it, because there's also like this book, Dan Sullivan, he says, who, not how. Who is the right person for the job to do this? And so sometimes if I'm having trouble with the process, I will just record a loom of what I want to do. I'll sketch it out on pen and paper, sketch it out on Canva. Here's what I would like to do. I will post that joint to Fiverr or Upwork and be like, bro, who will build this for me? And it may cost me $100, $200, and I'll get a thing that has bought back so much time over it and it's done for me. And that's acceptable too. It does not have to be you doing it. But it does sometimes have to be you identifying what the problem is that you're trying to solve. So that's how I would do that. Anyone else? Next question. Yeah, what's up? I'm sorry, I'm pointing at you like that. I apologize. Yeah.
How do you practically, what steps do you take
Oh, that's a really good question. So the young man is asking me, you're talking about adding empathy, talking about creating these emails that go out to this person that connect with them. One of the first things I had to do was develop my brand voice. And you all have a natural way that you go about communicating right there. So I took that, I recorded myself talking, and then I took that, threw it into ChatGPT, this transcript of me talking and explaining what I do, how I think about it, my business practices, things like that. And I said, hey, ChatGPT, I am trying to create my brand voice. And then we went through there, analyzed how I thought about my business, all these other values, who I like to serve and everything like that, what's my ideal target audience. And I just answered those questions, recorded them, and so I didn't have to type because typing sucks. And I just dumped that transcript in there, it gave me the brand voice. Once I had the brand voice, then I could load that into an LLM and say, moving forward, I want you to respond to my clients using this voice. When I give you the data from their transcript where they answered their questions, take key words from them and repeat that back, because a lot of times you just have to mirror their language back to them, but you have to frame it in your own language as well. And so that's what I do. Repeat over and over again. And the emails, for the most part, when it's generated like that, will, like, what is it on? Yesterday I had 10 client calls. We had the 10 emails, only had to change like 3 of them. Like, that took me 5 minutes to do, and it's all done for me. And I just had to, and when I say change, literally just had to change like a sentence or a word, and it was done. I was like, this is great. Because, ChatGPT, there's a lot of delves in that thing if you just let it delve on you. So, that was it. Yeah. Large language model. So ChatGPT is a large language model. Claude is a large language model. When you're on Facebook, Meta, the llama thing that you're talking to is a large language model. They're just things that process information. All the way over in the corner, what's up? You built over 300 automations? Do you want to come work with me? What's up?
Phase-based automations, the various triggers that are present. So what are your recommendations for actually tracking the data once you've scaled your automations to, tens of thousands every month?
Okay, so, and I want to make sure, so the question is, this is like a superstar user over here. How the hell do I keep up with everything I just built, right? And how do I remember what the hell I built? Is that kind of that part, that remember part?
Question. Yes. How do you maintain, is there a database that you use, or what do you do to make sure that you're tracking all of these?
Yeah, so number one, I have a loom for everything that I'm building, and I'm talking to myself about my thought process for building it. Then I take that loom and I put it in an Airtable database along with the actual automation I built. And with that automation I built, it'll have like the name or whatever, or the link to it. I'll put that, and I just have that loom there, and that says, here's how I use this, here's what I was thinking at the time I did it. Because a lot of times we're building to solve a problem, but sometimes when you go back to it months later, you're like, what the hell problem was I trying to solve? And it's good to have that memory there. Also, what I'll do then too is take that transcript of that Loom video, because it's also turning my voice into words. I would then have that into the ChatGPT to create like a 100-word summary. So I put that in the database as well as a note section. So then it reminds me at a glance, without having to watch the video, what was I trying to do?
And then as a follow-up question, how do you, I'm not sure if you work in firms, but how do you make this apparent to the various departments?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that, because like for me, I have 2, sometimes 3 assistants on the client side. There's like 7 people on content side, which, I think many of us should just have more people on the marketing side, but that's a thing for another point. So I don't have to worry about like everyone knowing how everything works. And I just have to make sure that the person who builds the automations, when I don't feel like building them, they know what's going on. So we just store it in a database and just refer back to it. Do that, but I don't know how that works across departments, so I'm not the best person for that. Anyone else? We're still going. Hey, what's up? Hand right there.
What do you think are the best? Could you please share with us what you think are the best-in-class tech, or like your tech stack? And I know you mentioned Loom and Airtable just now.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now about Andrew Huberman and how like there's a bunch of bros that want to copy his vitamin stack, like that shit works for everybody the same way. And what I will say, if we're trying to say, okay, give me the shortcut to get started so I can find a signal inside of this noise, where would I start at? I think for many people, Zapier is the easiest of all the automation tools to use, hands down. And it also has the most document support and the most support staff. So for automation, for the glue part, I would use that. Now, there's a cost consideration that goes into that because it is more costlier than others, but what you're buying back is that ease of use. For video, when we do that, it's either Zoom or it's Google Meet. Google Meet transcript kind of sucks, so we use mostly Zoom because their transcription is better. We'll run that through there. For large language models, for consumer use, for when you're just chatting, Claude is probably the easiest to have a conversation with because it's in natural language back to you. But as far as actually doing automated things on the back end, ChatGPT is just way better to use from an automation standpoint when you're building things. Anything else that we use? We just use a lot of Google Workspace. Forms, whatever form you got, Clio, Grow, whatever form they use, you just want the data that comes through there is all that really matters. But I think if I had to say the one thing I would tell anyone to use, it would be start with Zapier just because it's the easiest of all kind of glue things to use. What else? Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, and so there's all these third-party add-ons that you can add to Google or you can add as a recorder to your call that has transcription service as well. Some of those have gateways on the back end that don't let you, they gate wall the transcript so you can't actually automate what you want to do, but it'll give you access to that transcript. So there are a bunch of ways to get it done is my point. There's a bunch of roads to Damascus. There's no one right way to get there. You just have to have either the creativity and the desire to do it yourself or the spare dollars that you have set aside and said, here's what I want to do. I have sketched it out. Dude from wherever you are in the world, come do this for me. And it's actually super affordable to do, to have someone else a lot of times do this stuff for you. I don't think I spent more than like $500 on something. And when I say $500, it was like creating an end-of-day report because I have a remote async team. And like, I don't want to go through the trouble of like leaving them an end-of-day report myself because I'm tired. So I just have that read all of the notes I entered that day, all of the tasks that I completed that day, all of the calls, the key points, and then generate an end-of-day report to me, send it to my team. Oh yeah, also by the way, I don't want to read it, so throw that into 11 Labs and turn that text into audio so I can listen to it like a podcast. No, but honestly, the honest answer, the young man asked me, how do you get into the right space to write it yourself? A lot of it is that brand voice and understanding that catalog of pain points you've gotten from your clients and just speaking to those pain points. You don't have to be that creative. A lot of this can be automated. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate you all. Have an awesome day.